Oh yeah.
You could see him right away.
Oh yeah, that was cool. As soon as I got it way back in there, whew.
You know, when you go down the mangroves, just exploring a mangrove shoreline, you might see some fish. Some places it's too deep to see the fish. Some places, you know, they're just way back underneath the bushes. And if you can take live pilchards back in there and you start throwing them into the bushes, everything comes out.
He ate it that time. There you go, Tom, nice job. Yeah, nice job, dude. What a cool spot, huh? Oh, yeah! Come on, oh! He ate it, he ate it, he ate it. Nice, baby, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought you said you had
Got him, relax.
Oh, dude, he just ripped my boat off. Oh, awesome, look at that big boy. Woo-hoo.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, with Captain Tom Rowland and Captain Rich Tudor.
What do you think?
I am ready to roll, man. Full of gas.
You got a preference on what you want to do?
I'd love to see if we could find a tarpon or two. That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, they're here. Wind's
Big
blowing
or
a little
small,
hard,
you
but,
know?
Yeah. We could try to look for some big tarpon for starters here early, and then if that once that wind picks up, maybe go hide around the islands and look for some little ones.
Okay.
Been a few snook around too. It's been a really good year for snook everywhere.
Really?
Like in places you wouldn't think.
Uh-huh. Well, let's see if we can catch one.
So it's awesome to get to go out your new bay boat and just explore. And the one thing about a bay boat that's just so much better than the 26 or anything is just the options we have. And on a windy day where it was blowing 20 plus out of the southeast, really one of the best options is hiding behind the mangroves.
Yeah, and the mangroves, when you go down the mangroves, just exploring a mangrove shoreline, you might see some fish. Some places it's too deep to see the fish. Some places, they're just way back underneath the bushes. And if you can take live pilchards back in there and you start throwing them into the bushes, everything comes out.
Well, it was a great day to do it on the southeast wind. Really, anywhere on the bay here from Duck Key is pretty sheltered. So running from here, we went up north a little bit and explored some of the islands back in the Everglades. And it was really just bouncing around. Reed had been out there. I'd been out there fishing with him, and he'd been exploring with his friends. So he had a few spots for us to check out. And he had found these pilchards in this channel there, which is really, there was not much bait around here by Duck Key lately the last few days. So just taking that extra run up there to find that bait, that was key.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways that we can catch bait. Sometimes we're actively searching for it on the trolling motor and looking for it in the water and then throwing the cast net on it. Other times we're looking for birds. And this time, we knew. I mean, your son told us where they were. You go there, put a chum bag in the water, and boy, do they come up.
That's a lot.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, and really on a windy day like that, it can be super hard to see them. Even if the birds are diving and you could be throwing and throwing and throwing, but by chumming there, it was perfect because we had that wind and current taking the chum out, and they just frenzied up, and you could just throw and fill up both live wells. And that is my favorite thing about a bay boat is the live well capacity there, yet the boat still floats in super shallow water.
Yeah, as much bait as you would take offshore, you can take up to the mangroves, and we did.
Oh, wow.
That's a good snapper, a good one. He popped it right off the surface. If we were in the market,
that's a good one.
he'd be dinner right here.
Yeah,
Boy, I love those big snappers.
Keep a couple for dinner. Yeah, it was fun. You throw a handful of bait in there and the mangroves come alive. You start hearing the popping and everything, and the snappers are coming up and swirling and popping. And I really think that, that action brings the snook out. I know there's some snook way back in those mangroves, and it's really hard to get them to bite. But once that action is happening, then they start creeping out to investigate. There he is.
That would look better.
That's a snook.
Yep. Nice work.
Oh, yeah.
You could see him right away.
Oh, yeah, that was cool. As soon as I got it way back in there, whew.
Action brings more
Wow, that was
action,
cool.
I'll bet you.
That is cool. Man, he's so pretty in this clear water. It's interesting
over here.
how they look different in the different colors of water.
They match the water so good.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Sweet. All right. You want the cutters? Nice. That's a nice snook, man. I'll tell you what, when you hook them way deep in the mangroves like that, it is a challenge to get a snook that size out.
Mm-hmm. Sneaky fish is the snook. Sneaky.
Well, I think there's a couple dozen of them in there like that.
Let's see if we can get another.
Sweet.
Good work. Good work.
Good job, dude. That was awesome. Nice
what,
job. Was
like,
that the artificial?
Yeah.
Good call on the artificial.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you by Hawks Cay. Find what lures you. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Waypoint, the destination for outdoor entertainment. Mercury Marine, go boldly. St. Croix Rods, the best rods on earth. And by Ameritrail Trailers. Daiwa. Marathon. Black Rifle Coffee Company. Salt's Gone. Power Pole. And Reflex Boat Decking.
We were just happy to catch any bait because it was really hard to find bait that day, but the size of the bait is kind of key there. A lot of the baits we had were on the small sides for the pilchards. Occasionally we'd had, about 1 out of 50, there was a pretty nice one in there, and if you get that real big one in there, you have a little better chance of keeping the snappers off. But when you're trying to catch the snappers, the smaller baits, you're gonna really do well.
Sure, and the shrimp. If you threw a shrimp back in there, you would have no chance of catching a snook on a shrimp because any size snapper can eat a shrimp. But the snappers just proved to be too aggressive there, and we just kind of decided we want to keep looking around.
Yep. So we cruised up to this other island, and another lee side shoreline on that southeast wind. And when we ran in there and shut down, it was just slick calm behind that island. Something waking at 11, but it's probably a shark. The coolest thing that I like about the bay boat is the elevation. To stand up on the hard top, be able to control the trolling motor. I mean, it's like having a tuna tower offshore. And I was able to see those fish so far away that you know you're not spooking anything because you can stay far enough off the mangroves to where you're not spooking them. And I see these tarpon way off in the distance. I'm like, Tom, there they are. Okay, there they are. 1 o'clock. They're going in that little hole to your right.
Okay, got them.
And we finally get up there and I hit the power poles, just stop there nice and easy, and you just had the perfect presentation to be able to cast in that little creek and feed them. They're coming out of the hole, just throw it in the mouth of the channel. There you go.
I see it. The shrimp's swimming away from him. Come on.
He's tracking it.
Eat it. I see the shrimp, I see the fish.
Yeah,
There.
he ate it that time. There you go, Tom, nice job. Yeah, nice job, dude. What a cool spot, huh?
Cool spot.
Is this
Beautiful.
cool or what?
So the bottom's so nice here. You can see this would be the greatest place to bring somebody that had never sight fished before.
Yeah.
A lot of times when the tarpon's coming after a live shrimp or an artificial or a fly or whatever, you can give it a little more action and that will make them come and get it. But this time I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna let this shrimp be a shrimp. We're using a live shrimp. I throw it way back in there and the shrimp starts to swim out from the mangroves. He knew that's not a place that he wanted to be. But the tarpon locked onto it, came right up behind it and just sucked it in.
It's almost like a fly shot, right? You let them come to it and come to it and come to it.
Yeah, but different from the fly shot. The shrimp was doing shrimp things. I don't think you have to pull up the power poles. I got it.
That was such an incredible
I'm gonna
feed.
need a new leader. Look at that leader. He took it way up in there.
Sometimes the bites are aggressive. That was just so subtle in slow motion, like watching it. Oh, that's cool.
You got him?
I got him.
Sure.
Nice. That's neat, man.
Tell you what, Say it every time. And I don't know how you can beat that size tarpon. That's like the perfect little fish. I love that fish.
See you, buddy.
Well,
Watch
it's
him on the
clear
bottom. Look
water.
how clear that's neat. It's deeper than you think in here.
Yep, it is deeper than I
Nice
think.
feed. That was so wild the way you had your shrimp right here, and the fish came from so far away, and then you could tell he saw it, but
Well,
he
the
just
thing was, is my shrimp was also swimming away from the mangroves. That's where it was different than a fly shot. Like you said, a fly shot, you could put it there and you could leave it there and wait for the fish to swim up to it. But I put it in there, and then the shrimp started swimming out.
yeah.
And I thought maybe it was going to continue to swim out, and I would have to, you know, make another cast. But worked out.
That was really cool.
We keep bouncing around these islands. We put together a pretty nice day.
What's interesting is we're talking about the different places, that stagnant shoreline with no current flow. You know, tarpon, yes, but not a lot of other life. But as soon as we got around the corner where there was some current flow, you know, we started seeing some snook and snappers. They want that current flow. I guess there's, you know, shrimp or things come around there, and they're in that ambush spot. And we got on that little corner. I didn't want to go too far up the shoreline because it was so shallow. But by chumming there, we were attracting whatever was down the shoreline to us. And the snappers just started frenzying, going crazy. I mean, you hear them popping, going all over the place. And sure enough, you look down the mangroves, and here comes these little tarpon coming down to investigate.
Yeah, but you know, again, the problem was the snappers were so aggressive that it was hard to get a bait to the tarpon. So you cast far enough in front of the tarpon not to spook them, but that's too far because now a snapper's eating it.
He's coming now. The friggin' snapper ate it.
He wants to eat that so bad. It's almost like we need an artificial shrimp.
And then you were like, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do. You went through the tackle drawer and pulled out something, and you got an artificial shrimp.
Well, you put a shrimp on, immediately you have a snapper. I mean, the second that it hits the water. And so in this situation, you're looking for something that's less effective. Like what can get in the water and sit there long enough to get the tarpon. And I was at least able to get it in there in front of the tarpon without getting the snapper, and then give it a little bit of action and manage to catch a tarpon like that too.
Good job, dude! That was awesome. Nice
what,
job. Was
like,
that the artificial?
Yeah.
Good call on the artificial.
It was like I had somebody standing above me telling me where he was.
Wow. That was
Because
awesome.
I couldn't see him. Oh, don't go under there. And don't jump into my lap, please.
What a cool fish, man.
Jump over the power pole. Jump over the other power pole. Yay!
Good call on the artificial there. It's funny when your bait is too good, right?
Yeah. Here, stay at it. There's another one. I see him going under the bushes way back there. I can get this guy.
Totally cool, man.
Boy, I tell you what, these fish are very aggressive. And the pilchards are helping, but these want to play ball. You can find fish that hadn't been messed with that much, and they don't always want to play ball.
Yeah.
These are, well, that is just like the perfect little size. Thank you, sir.
One of the most important things we do out here is really sight fishing. We are seeing fish before we ever catch them. And you know, our eyesight is everything as a guide. Whether you're, you know, checking your vision, wearing the best polarized sunglasses, every advantage you can do to make sure you have better vision, you're gonna see more fish. This is why we have towers on boats to get up higher, pulling platforms, casting platforms, tuna towers on boats. You wanna be able to see further and further away because that gives you an advantage to get the fish. But one of the things that is totally underutilized on the inshore fishing is binoculars. I started using those years ago, and it is such an incredible advantage. When we go out in the morning, early in the morning or late in the evening, we're looking for these tarpon rolling off in the distance. I mean, we're straining our eyes, we're looking, and picking up a pair of binoculars and scanning might give you 8-10 times, you know, more range. I mean, it's 10xing your ability to know if a fish is there or not. It's 10xing your ability to scout, to catch fish. It's such an advantage. I'm amazed that more people don't utilize it. So There's all kinds of great binoculars out there. This is a simple, small, compact pair of binoculars that I really trust. This is a Nikon Monarch 7. This is 8x42. These are great all-around binoculars, hunting, fishing, everything, and they're super small. They fit in a little flat skiff or a bay boat, and you can always have them on the boat. I recommend keeping them in like a waterproof case so they don't get wet, but knowing that they're there and then pulling them out. When I'm looking for tarpon in the morning, tailing, bonefish, anything like that, I'm taking these out and I'm scanning, and if I see those fish, I know they're there. Then we'll pursue maybe trolling motor up in there or pull way up in there and get on those fish. A great pair of binoculars with really good optics, and keeping them on the boat and pulling them out anytime that water's calm enough to see those fish is a huge advantage.
The Hawks K Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you by Yellowfin, only in a Yellowfin. Hook. Tackle Direct, the world's premier fishing outfitter. Yeti. And by Burno and Rod Holders. Wiley X. Nikon. Buff. Lithium Pros. And Golden Boat Lifts.
Did you know you can get every episode of Saltwater Experience completely free on Waypoint TV? Go to waypointtv.com and find out how you can download the app or find it on any smart TV. And if that's not enough, you can find the Tom Rowland Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you find podcasts. And we'd love to have you as a follower on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We thought maybe we've got one more spot we'd like to check out and kind of come into this nice, really beautiful area, and didn't look like they were going to be there.
Yeah, you know, by that time of the day, the sun was up so high, and it was just a, you know, beautiful, clear water. Had this nice mangrove shoreline, you know, kind of some white sandy bottom where we could, I mean, it was not a question of being able to see them. We knew if they were there, we were going to see them. And I was very surprised we weren't seeing them. We'd checked that spot a few weeks earlier and they were there, and I'm like, huh. I was about to leave and you look in there and you're like, I think I saw one roll. And there was this one little creek that went way back in there, and honestly, it looked to me, it was almost too shallow for fish to be in there.
They're rolling in there real good.
You see another one roll?
Yeah, I've seen 3 roll in there.
Nice.
They're way back in there though. And you see them, they're back where those trees are coming down.
A little closer?
We need to be quite a bit closer, yeah.
And we got positioned there, and this was one of those situations where you had to make a skip cast under the mangroves. There was like a little mangrove tunnel you had to get in, and you skipped it in there just perfect, and here they came. They're coming. He ate it. You got him. You got him. Nice job, dude. Good. That was so cool. Way up in there.
Well, I'll tell you what, the reward was the cutest little tarpon that's ever lived. I mean, I don't get to catch them that small except going way up into the Everglades. Where I fish, we don't really have them like that. And that fish was literally like that. And I used to have a contest with one of my friends to see who could catch the smallest tarpon. And it's surprisingly hard to catch a really, really small one. But I tell you, those were right there with some of the smallest ones I've ever caught. And they were just perfect. It's just cool to see one of those little fish that looks exactly like a big fish, but here it is, literally 2-pounder. That one is like largemouth bass size.
That was pretty cool though.
Very
Skip
cool.
cast it right in there.
Yes. Come on, ease up, fella. I want to let you go as bad as you want to be let go. I don't have a lot of spots where they're this small. That's so cool. That's super cool. Perfect size. All right, buddy.
Yeah, you know, what's fun about the little tarpon like that is, you know, they act like the big brothers. I mean, you just scale everything down. Super light rods, you know, 10-pound braid, little light medium action rod. And when you hook them, they come leaping out of the water. I mean, crazy jumps, backflips. It seems like, as far as per scale, it seems like they get even higher than their big brothers. It's fun. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that was a great day. A lot of times you're just trying to make the best of a windy day. Let's just go and see if we can explore some, learn some, And you know what? We ended up having a great day and catching some fish too. But I would have been happy just learning and seeing fish in different places.
How cool is that, huh? Clear water.
Super cool. I really like these little guys. I don't see them this small very often, except up in the Everglades or somewhere, you know.
What do you think? Just that one, how old is he?
He's young. I know they grow fast, but they grow fast to this size too, I think. All right, fella. Leave that out of there. All right. I'm gonna let you go to grow up into a big guy. Thank you, Mr. Tarpon.
That's awesome, man.